Beans, it's time.
Top five.
Top five.
Top
Without
five.
further ado, another classic JP and the Beans top five. Today's top five is the top five clones in comics, as determined by us, of course, JP and Beans. Beans, you go first.
Now, we talked about this, so I just want to establish this before we get into it.
Mhm.
There are not a lot of clones in comics,
Actually aren't.
which is true and not true. Like, I feel like all the clones aren't significant enough.
There's a lot of
They-
terrible clones.
Right, they don't stick around
Yep, they
and
kill pretty
establish
fast.
themselves as actual clones, right? So, and we've also figured out there's only like 3 people that get cloned all the time.
Yeah,
So,
it's abusive.
it goes to
It's
show,
ridiculous.
you know, and of course it's the popular characters. So,
Ugh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
without further ado,
Hit it.
my number 5. My number 5 is Bizarro.
Mhm.
I think we just have to establish him out there. He is a clone in some aspects.
Yep.
You know, he's he's number 5 because it's just kind of it's there. I don't know how else to like his significance for the Superman lore is up there. It's very high.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like it's almost comedic relief.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that. That's my number 5.
Kind of a what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 5 is Bentley 23. Who the freak is Bentley 23? So he is a clone of the Wizard, Bentley Whitman, in the Marvel Comics universe. He is called the Wizard. Now, here's what's cool about Bentley 23. All right. He is rescued by the Fantastic Four because the Wizard is a classic Fantastic Four villain. Bentley is a clone of his dad, Bentley Whitman, and brought into the Fantastic Four fold with the hope of the Fantastic Four of, hey, we're going to put this kid in a healthy environment. We're going to teach him. We're going to train him. And we're going to hope that eventually it's going to have a really positive impact. And for issue after issue, okay, the Storm family is like teaching these kids, and they call them the Future Foundation. There's about a dozen, is that right? Give or take. A dozen U's, including the Richards, 2 youngest kids. And Bentley is one of them. And Bentley is constantly the kid that when all the other kids are going, hey, we're going to do this really cool, like noble thing. Bentley's like, we should do the opposite and kill a bunch of people. So they're always looking at him sideways like, dude, you don't do that. Don't do that. So it's literally the little villain in their midst. And for multiple issues, that's what takes place. He slowly starts to turn a little bit more positive until finally, way towards the end of Jonathan Hickman's run, he gets confronted by or introduced to his dad, the original, and the original's like, you're bad. There's nothing good about you. Put on my wizard helmet and take the mantle. And little Bentley kicks him right in the nards. And essentially says, screw you, Pops. Pieces out and takes up the mantle for good. So it's kind of a fun little run. Bentley 23. My number 4, also Bizarro. Totally agree with you. It's just kind of why is this even here? But here's the Bizarro that I'm going to call attention to in particular, the new 52 version of Bizarro, where Bizarro is produced by Lex Luthor as a clone of Superman. But what's really fun about this version of Bizarro is that the entire Justice League gets essentially sent off universe by the, oh my gosh, what do they call themselves? Like not the Justice Society of America. Oh, I'm drawing a huge blank. But essentially the evil versions of the Justice League show up, right? And so Lex Luthor is left on Earth going, okay, I could use the Justice League around now, and they're not here. And he's got his Superman clone in the incubator, and he's going, he still needs a couple years, but we're just going to have to break him out. And so he busts open the glass, pulls out the Superman clone, and he's not fully developed, so he's Bizarro, Superman. But he actually has some nice moments where he saves Lex Luthor's bacon and essentially becomes Lex Luthor's son. Before Ultraman kills him, which is a little sad. So short run for Bizarro in the New 52, but there it is, Bizarro, my number 4.
Fair enough. My number 4, I'm giving to Connor Kent, Con-El. My main experience with Connor is from Young Justice.
Yep.
Very appealing character. They bust him out of the tanks immediately. And see, here's the weird thing for Connor. He has 2 dads, no mom. It is Lex and Kal-El.
Ew.
It's an odd mix. So
Very,
he's half
very.
human, half Kryptonian.
Yep.
I don't know why Lex did that, but I digress. So to see him like go from pretty much this newborn, essentially, in a Superman body,
Right.
to becoming like this hero. Very, very appealing story. So
no kidding.
Yeah, I like Connor.
That's a great number 4. Old Connor Kent.
Number 3.
It's a good sounding name too, Connor Kent. Like that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great. My number 3 is Kane Parker, aka the second Scarlet Spider, aka the Spider-Man who's not afraid to kill people. And I love that dynamic for Spider-Man, because here's the deal. Out of the Clone Saga, you got Ben Reilly, and then you got Kane. And the first time you see Kane, he gets this like weird, like, he's disfigured a little bit in the face. Like he was not a well-done clone.
Right.
And like, I don't think he had any of the memories that like Ben Reilly got, because Ben Reilly got all of Peter's memories.
Right.
I don't think Kane got jack crap for that part. And so just to see a Spider-Man that never had an Uncle Ben and just to see what he turns out to be, it's fantastic. So yeah. Kane Parker is my number 3.
That's great. We're going to have a lot of overlap here, which is great. My number 3 is also Connor Kent. Connor Kent has a terrific role in some of the more classic DC comics. He actually dies fighting the Anti-Monitor, which is a super sad event. Well, the Anti-Monitor and Superboy Prime, who is just a phenomenal villain. So he's actually fighting against another version of Superboy, which is super tight. But again, just that idea of, I think something that's so weird or maybe relatable. Yeah, we'll call it relatable about clones, right? Is they didn't choose to be made. And that's true for all of us. Like, none of us had anything to do with, all right, I'd like to exist, and here's what I'd like to be like. So the idea of cloning is just kind of taking it to that extreme, right? Of, hey, we're actually making you a copy of this particular person. And so what I enjoyed so much in that comics run with Connor Kent is he's clearly, like, struggling with, I don't want to be Clark Kent, right? Like, I don't want to be compared to him. I don't want to be him. I want to be, not that he doesn't want to be good or do good for the world, but he just wants to be able to be his own, have his own identity, if you will. And so I really found that compelling. I thought this is a good character. This is one worth spending some time with. So my number 2 is X-23, aka Laura, the clone of Wolverine. Now, there are multiple clones of Wolverine, but I'm just giving her the style points. Like the 2 claws, she uses them extraordinarily well. And how about the claw in the foot? Like, that's unexpected. And at first I thought, that's kind of dumb. Why would you have a claw in the foot? Well, it's because it's phenomenal, because it's incredibly effective, and nobody's going to see it coming. It's so good. I would love to see a version of X-23 in just all the movies moving forward. I don't know if that's too much to ask.
I don't think so.
No, let's see it.
After seeing this, and like I think it's so good for the Wolverine character to have a daughter, essentially, that he actually has a good relationship with. Because most of his kids, he has terrible relationships with. So to have this one and have a good relationship with, I think that's incredible for the character.
Do it. Just gotta do it.
My number 2 is also X-23, Laura, who is, I think, Wolverine now, as well as...
Might as well be.
As her dad. I think they're both Wolverine. Because why not? And the Wolverine suit looks good on her, too.
Sure.
Fits really well.
Sure.
But you get a clone of Wolverine, and you're like, yeah, let's do it. But yeah, the way, like, the 2 claws, still badass. I honestly liked the Logan explanation in that movie when Charles is like, it's kind of crazy because it's like the Lions, and they're like, in a sense, it's like it doesn't work, but at the same time, it's like actually
Yeah.
that kind of is cool.
Right.
So my only thing is, I was trying to figure out where the blade comes from.
Yep.
I think it comes on top of the foot.
Yep.
Because part of me was like,
Right.
does it come right between the big toe and the second toe?
Can't.
Because
Yeah,
it's
got to come right
weird.
on the top of the foot.
It's
Right.
a weird spot.
Correct.
So
Correct.
yeah, X-23,
Yeah.
Wolverine,
Super
Laura
dope.
Kinney, my number 2.
Love it. Your number 1, sir.
Oh yeah, my number 1.
Yeah.
It's Ben Reilly. It's 100% Ben Reilly. How can you not like the Scarlet Spider costume? It's fantastic.
It's a great look.
Now, has my homie been through it a couple of times? Okay,
A little bit.
Hey,
A little bit.
look, he's a Peter Parker clone. His life was never going to be easy. Okay, but for some reason, his got even worse because now he's been on a bad guy run, and then he comes back as the Scarlet Spider again to go for that run again.
All right.
And then again goes down this villain hole where he goes by Chasm now. And look at that look. It is horrifying. It is a horrifying look. He's trying to get his memories back. His memories are gone. It's terrible. Okay. So you look at all that stuff. It's a bummer. Ben Reilly goes through it, man.
Oh boy.
So
Or rascal.
major bummer train. But what I am looking forward to, because Andy Samberg's Ben Reilly and Across the Spider-Verse is fantastic. Not realistic at all to the character, but it works so well.
Oh my god.
So I'm so excited for the final installment of those movies just to see Andy Spider-Man again. So
That was so entertaining.
Oh,
he,
yes.
he was perfectly cast for that
oh, God,
version.
it
of that
works so
character.
well.
Ah, bless you, Andy. All right. My number 1 is Heretic. This is a DC Comics poll. So he's a clone of Damian Wayne. I brought him up before on this podcast. Creepiest freaking clone ever. Okay? Because he has the body of an absolute giant, like a 7-foot tall behemoth of a person. And yet he has the head of Damian Wayne. Just, no thank you. So the look is super terrible, super terrifying, but he's a freaking unit, like just a walking tank that Talia al Ghul produced to take down Batman. And he's actually pretty capable of doing that. So that's my number 1, Heretic. Also, the name is fantastic. Heretic, that's great.
That's pretty good.
Talia kills him, by the way. So
Yeah, she does.
His run is short, not very sweet. He kills Damian Wayne. Batman kicks his butt, and then Talia's so disgusted with him, she just beheads him. And it's wild stuff. Wild stuff. But there you go. That's my number one Heretic. So